Have you been experiencing internal financial struggles triggered by economic concerns? Are you feeling capped at your current income level and can't seem to realize your financial potential? Energy healer Jean Border has created an emotional freedom technique, or EFT, tapping protocol to help calm the inner voice that keeps you stressed. Claim your free copy at jeanborder.com/vow and say goodbye to those financial blockages. Welcome to another episode of the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast, Energy Work to Better Your Business, hosted by energy healer Jean Border. It's not just about dreaming, it's about making those dreams a practical reality. Subscribe to us via your favorite network by visiting our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com. Now, get ready. Your journey to success starts here.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Jean Border, with another great episode of the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast, where we talk about all things energy to better your business. I have something I want to talk to you about just very quickly. A lot of my clients are still coming to me with stress issues related to the economy here in the United States in particular. So I have created an EFT tapping protocol. If you would like that, it's just a free PDF. You can go through it. If you have questions, I'm always here. But it's something you can do on your own. Just go to jeanborder.com/income. Okay? But that's free for you. And if you don't remember that, just go to the show notes and click on the link. It'll take you right to it. But to get started for today's business, I have a cool special guest with me. This is Deborah Graugnard, and we met not too long ago, and we've had some cool conversations. And so I asked if she would possibly grace us with her presence here on the podcast, and she said yes. So, hi, Deborah. How are you? It's great to have you here.
Hello, Jean. I am honored to be here with you and your guests, your listeners.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about you. You've got some really cool things going. She's also a podcast host, by the way, but she's got a cool community. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. My community is called Community for Conscious Living, and we're all about doing the inner work to make the world a better place, personal transformation for universal harmony, just really focusing in on our daily lives, daily habits, daily practices, belief systems, all the things that we do, because everything affects everything else. And we want to make our lifestyle choices and habits align with sustainability for the planet and peace for the world.
Sustainability for the planet. I had one guest, totally off topic here, but no, really, I had a guest a few months back who focuses on that specific thing, how having a green business can be profitable while you're saving the planet. It was a really cool interview. But anyway,
beautiful.
I find it fascinating that that's your focus, because energy work does impact every part of our life. Whatever decisions you're making in your personal life, the thought process bleeds over into your business world.
Absolutely.
So you're all over, just to set the stage for all our listeners, you're all over the internet. People want information, right? You're on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and where else? Right?
YouTube. Yes.
YouTube. There we go. But before you got to here, you had to start somewhere.
Oh boy, you didn't.
So let's talk about how you started in your business, because a lot of my listeners are small business owners or people who are moving into that space, right? So let's talk about how you started and some of the great things that happened with that and some of the challenges that made themselves known along the way.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I imagine that there may be a few listeners who can relate to being the purpose-driven solopreneur that, is the just embarking on the journey and figuring it out as you go, building the ship underneath you as you're like moving out into the waters and trying to figure out what's needed and how it all pieces together. And that was certainly me starting out. I had, I started out in corporate computer technology world and had a total out of the blue spiritual awakening that completely changed my world, inner and outer. And after that, nothing was the same. It couldn't be, right? I couldn't stay the same if I tried. And so it set me on a really serious journey of seeking and trying to figure out the what's what and the why. And from that point forward, I felt like totally guided, like I was on one of those people movers at the airport, and I was going to the gate and I was going to take off. And, I couldn't stop the people mover. I couldn't stop the schedule. It was going. And I ended up going to study with a spiritual teacher, a Sufi master from Jerusalem, who I studied with for almost 20 years before he passed away back in 2015. And I ended up working for a school of spiritual healing that taught his teachings. So I worked there, I learned there, and studied with him quite intently and developed some abilities, that had been awakened during that spiritual awakening. And that's where I got on the path of healing, energy healing, spiritual healing, personal transformation, and that recognition of everything affects everything else. I worked for the organization for quite some time. And when it was time to make that leap, again, it was like I jumped onto another people mover, or a people mover appeared out from under me and said, okay, we're going here now. It's time for you to leave this nest and go speak to people. And so I started on that journey. And then, then it all kind of began because, all right, what do you do now? How, in a big internet where everybody's on there talking, how do you actually get your message, figure out what that is, and speak it in a way? Grant, I spent like 20 years studying with a spiritual teacher, speaking a language that most people don't understand. So, I think the friend who ultimately connected us, that's her message to me all the time, is like, people don't know what you're talking about. You have to speak English. Oh, but I felt that was my mission, was to learn how to take this message and put it into plain English that anyone could understand. So, that's like a huge part of it. So, of course, I had a friend who was a business coach who called and said, hey, do my year-long program, tens and thousands of dollars, right? So I jumped into that program, do that year-long program, and it got me certain pieces put together of the business and, figuring out, okay, now what? And it was exactly that. And okay, at the end of that year, okay, now what? And then it was to another coach who was another, 5-figure, and put some pieces together. And, from each one I learned, but I can definitely say that the amount of debt I incurred was more than than what I made. I didn't get a solid ROI. And I, over the years, went from coach to coach and mounted an enormous amount of debt. And I eventually ended up, just in a totally unrelated thing, going back to work for the organization that I had left. They called me to come back. Actually, just before my teacher passed away, they called and said, hey, our marketing person just left. Can you come back and help us out for a while? So I went back and, had a steady paycheck for a while, was there, got to be there for my teacher's passing, and ended up staying for 2 years, and then jumped back into business again. And here we go again with, all right, all of those things that I learned, figuring out what were the things that were really going to apply to my business. Because, those tens of $1,000 coaches, a lot of times they sell you a cookie cutter. It's not necessarily specific to what you need. So from all of those, I was able to then kind of pick out, all right, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and I could put together and build a business that's actually going to represent what I feel is this people mover is moving me into and asking me to give.
The whole coach story is You want to talk about a journey. That's a huge journey, right?
It is.
Because
I think a lot
don't know what you need, or you wouldn't be looking for a coach, right? So you go to this coach and you spend, $12,000 or whatever it is for the year. And they're an extrovert and you're an introvert. So their marketing techniques don't fit with you at all. Yes, you learn them, but are you ever going to use them? Absolutely not. I don't want to be that person,
Right.
And then you go to the next person who is throwing tech at you that's way above your head. So you have to learn all the basics of the tech they're teaching. And at the end of the year, well, that's nice. I got a lot of information, but it sure didn't grow my business. Right? So
and
some of these things are geared for people who are further in the business than just starting out, right? Just starting out, you need, how do I get a client? How do I get them to pay me? How do I provide value?
Yes.
How do I get my next client? How do they pay me? How do I provide value, right?
Yes.
But that's not what the focus of a lot of these programs is. It's I know a lot. Let me give you a fire hose of information, and then you pick out what you need. That's overwhelming.
Yeah. Or pay me $12,000, I'll teach you how to make $1 million. Well, when you're first figuring it out, you might not be ready for that step right away. There might be a few steps in between that you need to address first. And when you're missing those, it's hard to make that leap.
Yep. And I'm not saying they don't have the best intentions. They're just not your ideal, I'm going to say teacher, because a coach in a lot of ways is a teacher.
They're not right for you as at where you are in the moment, right? Exactly. Is that not the key in your healing business, is to really meet where they are?
They have to be ready.
Yes.
My ideal client has to be ready, right? And with these coaching programs, they don't care if you're ready or not. They care if your credit card has enough money on it, right?
Right.
Because
and if it doesn't, they'll help you get a one that does.
Exactly. Or they'll spread the payments out,
Yeah.
Or it can be very frustrating. So I think the bottom line of that is be very aware when you come into business of what your boundaries are going to be with regard to money. Because just because people have good results for someone doesn't mean that you're going to get the same results, because you don't have the same background, you don't have the same experiences, you don't have the same personality type, perhaps. All these factors that go into play. So,
and maybe, like you said, they're talking to your business 5 years down the road, but not today.
Exactly. So it's great information, but if you learn the tech stuff now, you know how fast tech changes, right? 3 years from now, what you learned is obsolete.
Right.
So timing is very important, but being financially aware and setting financial boundaries for yourself, for training, for marketing, for whatever, right? It's something we don't think about when we go into business. We just think, oh, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to help the world. I'm going to make money. I won't have somebody telling me what to do. Well, yeah, you will, because otherwise you'll have no money, right?
Right.
It's a journey. So how did you get through all that?
Well, I think it was, like I said, it was just to sit down and do some reflection on what were the things that I learned that really did apply to me, that aligned with who I am, that were going to be helpful in what I felt inspired to create, and then let the rest go, and I mean, I've done enough coaching programs where I could actually do that and take a percentage from each one and put it together. And
I mention frequently that when I'm in different conversations, that I look at training as money well spent if I got a really good piece of information from it. I don't expect all day training to all pertain to me. I just don't, right? I'm way above some of the talk. I'm way not there on some of the talk. But somewhere in the training, if I can find a really good nugget that I can utilize and put into play, then I think it's well worth it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other part of it too is, like, we talk about meeting people where they are, is recognizing giving myself the space to implement as I took the pieces that were actually felt like that were going to benefit my particular business and where I was, to then give myself the a timeline, I guess, and a sequence to implement them in a way that was going to allow my business to unfold rather than bury it.
Sometimes becoming aware of where you want to go is the first step, right? So if you don't know where you want to go, you're just going to run in circles and never get there.
Right. Right.
So know going in what you want to get out of any trainings or coaching programs that you step into. Because there are so many options out there.
Oh, so many. Yes, very true. And, and so many making promises. I think that's one thing that if I could give any kind of blanket advice, right? Because I don't believe there's a one size fits all. We're not all in the same place. We're not all needing the same thing. But if there were one piece of blanket advice, beware of the lofty promises, especially from someone who's never spoken to you and has no idea what your business is. If they get on the phone on their welcome call with you, or their what do you call it? Their
discovery call.
Discovery call. Thank you. Yeah, if they get on that discovery call with you and they're immediately telling you you can do this when they have no idea if you sell widgets or change tires, it's like it's beware. Beware.
Yeah, you just brought something up and it just went out of my head. But the whole I know what it was. The promises people are making and the testimonies people are posting now. AI makes some really great testimonies for you.
Wow, yeah.
Don't use them. I'm serious. There are websites where people can put that into the website and it will tell them 100% created by AI. They know it's not a human person. FCC will come after you and sue you. You're going to lose whatever little money you made from that fake testimony, right? There's a really...
I hadn't even thought about that one.
Yeah, they're suing. They're going after people now.
Wow.
They're going after people now, millions of dollars in fines. So make sure that what you put on your website or on your brochures or on your marketing profile is actually true, actually documented, actually supported by fact. Otherwise, you may be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Never mind the ethics of it, right? That's one of my pet peeves. So many of people I'm on some healing sites, right? Some Facebook groups, whatever. I see so many newer practitioners coming in saying, I'll do a free session if you give me a good review, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nowhere do they put on there, this review was paid for, right? They act like it was this person volunteered to tell you how good I am. No, it was an exchange. I did this work for you, you paid me. That's not a great, even on commercials now, they have to disclose, yes, it's a customer, but they were paid.
Yeah, yeah.
So just another thing to come back to bite you later.
Yeah.
So don't fall into those traps.
And I bet you have this conversation with your people. There's, I think we get, it's like the passion and the inspiration that we feel is so real. The desire to help, especially when we have experienced something that completely changed our lives and we know it could help other people. That passion, that sense of purpose is real. That yearning, that draw to have that be a part of your life and a part of other people's lives. I mean, that is real. And if you can really just learn to trust that and have somebody who will help you to bring that out in a way that is sincere and honest, and, from a place of love and generosity, that's where we get into the energy of things, right? That is like the people who are looking for you probably have also been, paid big bucks for the hype and gotten nowhere. They'll be attracted to you. I do believe, it's okay, especially if we don't make the, $12,000 investment. We can keep things in the business, the costs low enough where we can make the money to, have that cash flow and have that, your expenses covered and things, and then make that wise financial decision from a place of, the business decision of when it's right to make that investment for the next thing.
I'm very big on training. I don't want to put down training at all. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm constantly in class.
Me too.
I'm constantly, taking whatever class attracts me, right? Because there's a reason why I'm attracted to it. There must be something in it that I need. But I just want to caution that there needs to be a limit that you set on yourself every year for training. And so maybe you do it, okay, every 2 months I'm going to spend this much money. Or by the time the year is up, when this money budget line is done, I'm done, regardless of what comes up. Because it's very easy to just, I just need one more certification. I just need one more training. And then you never get going in your business because you think you don't know enough, but you know so much stuff that you're not using, right?
Yeah, I raised my hand as guilty on that one. I have certifications out the wazoo. Yeah.
I have a bunch that I use. I'm the first certification, energy certification that I got was something called body code and emotion code body code, right? I'm certified in something called EFT, which people call tapping, emotional freedom technique. Pranic healing. I've been to so many classes on pranic healing, ultra high frequency healing, peace process, which I love with my clients. There's so many others, right? But those are the ones that I use the most. They come up in sessions, and when I feel led to use certain techniques, whatever comes up is what I use with a client, right? But anything more than that, I've not been led to learn. Reiki, that's not for me. It's a very hands-on thing. I get that. My work is all remote.
Yeah, mine does as well.
I like understanding how it works. I like the science behind it. They've measured the energy coming off your hand. But the same is true for the ultra high frequency, right? For the EFT tapping, they've done brain scans, the MRIs, they measure what happens. It's all science. It sounds really woo-woo, but it's science. But anyway, you get to the point where it can be an insecurity that drives you rather than exactly knowledge, right?
Yeah, right.
So once you have one certification, run with it. Then if you need more, you can gather those while you're doing your business with the certification you have. You don't need a million certifications to start.
Yes. I think that's one of the things that drives us in so many areas of our life is that sense of not enoughness. I do the meditation, weekly meditation and healing circle on Sunday mornings, and I've done several on the whole concept of not enoughness. Just that sense of not enoughness. And it's, that's another kind of little litmus test you can do for yourself. Are you attracted to it because you feel like you don't have enough yet? Or is it really like from the place of passion and purpose? Is it serving the passion and purpose? Or is it like plugging a leak in the not enoughness boat,
A lot of times I have this little internal measurement. Will it be useful? And if it will not be useful right now, then maybe it's a not right now is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't typically, I very rarely use absolutes, because if I say no, I would never do that, well, that's an absolute. And a year from now, you may be in a different situation and you may need that. So my answer is not no, it's not right now. A lot of times. Now, some things I'm just like, if it's really like in your face, I'm like, yeah, no thanks, but it's not a never, because I may be at a different place in my healing business or in my coaching business, whatever, right? And it may be useful at some point, but is it useful now?
Right.
Or
because we evolve also, and I can say that there were several trainings that I took for the unevolved or the less evolved me that might be good for me now, but weren't, 5 years ago or however long it was.
So we've been talking about challenges. What are some of the good things that have come from you jumping into the business you're in?
Oh, boy. Those also are abundant. I work primarily as a healer, right? I have a master's of divinity, a chaplaincy, a intuitive spiritual healing, and I'm a certified teacher in 2 different embodiment practices. Like I said, certifications out the wazoo. But to have someone who's been on the personal development journey for years come to one of my programs, and at the end of the program just have that wow, I remember this one person who her face just lit, been doing personal development programs for 20 years. And she said, I've done so much work. And I feel like for the first time, I finally found me. And, and it was just like the look on her face you could see. And to see another person really, because I work, that combination with the seriously deep inner work, bringing that through to personal transformation, but an embodiment, then bringing that into really anchoring it in the body, into the cellular consciousness, so that all the parts of you, body, mind, heart, soul, spirit, energy, body, all of your cellular consciousness is aligned and anchored into your physical presence. And you can show up, speak from your heart, and really have a strong and powerful impact, regardless of whether you're, of what kind of impact you're wanting to have, whether it is just to really deepen a relationship with someone from a place of sincerity, or make an impact in a big room. At the one of my programs where we were doing this embodiment practice. And there was, we took a turn of each person getting in the center and doing this group exercise, right? And when she stood up and spoke, everybody in the room literally went, oh, wow, when everything aligned, and she just spoke from her heart about her passion and what, how she wanted to serve and give, and everybody just went, oh. And, it's it's those kind of things. And also from the person who, oh gosh, hope you wouldn't mind me speaking of this, but I tell them all the time, I have a client who started working with me when he was going through a difficult divorce and had children, and wanted to just be the best dad that he could with the way that the circumstances were unfolding, which was, had full of challenges. And that, I have to say, being a part of that journey and witnessing him and his passion to be the best father that he can to his daughters, and to the way that he has really learned to show up for show up for them, and the difference he's made in their lives and the relationships that they have and everything. That like, there's nothing that beats that, you know. It's so I've had a number of incredible, you know, and like you, people who come in and they're, you know, a lot of us who have a passion to make a difference for others is because we've walked that same path. We might still be struggling with illness. We still might be struggling with getting the things together. I have a healer that I go to for healing, right? For when, you know, just to on a regular basis, but yeah, because I have stuff, you know. And so
Really?
I know, big shock, but I have issues, you know, and we all do, as long as we're in body, right? As long as we're in body. So, you know, being able to help that person as they're bringing more and more of their own journey into a stability where they're able to serve and help others. It's like, you know, I mean, I imagine you probably get the same kind of fulfillment from that I do. It's just, it really just, it sparks the flame in the heart that at the end of the days, at the end, you know, when I'm ready to leave the planet, I can say these are the things that made the journey worth it and happy. Not to mention my own relationships with my own, I don't have any children of my own, but I have great nieces and nephews, a lot of those. And my nieces, you know, my own family and the relationships that I've had, the quality of those, just, yeah, those are the things. And yes, the money's been there, and yes, it's been enough. It hasn't always been, and, you know, sometimes it's been more than others, let's say that, you know, hasn't always, like, you know, I've never really sought the multi-millions, because that's, you know, would I turn it down? No, not if that's where I'm meant to go, because I do recognize what I could do with those kinds of resources. And there's a difference I'd like to make in other areas that I think if I, you know, did come into those kind of resources, I would. But I've always had, and that's one of the things in the not enoughness things, I've always had more than enough. I've always had more than enough.
And that's a cool thing to be able to say, because not all people feel that way.
Yes. I might not have recognized it in the moment, but I've always had it. And I have it now.
I'm always amazed at my life. The things I've been able to accomplish, the places I've been able to go, the experiences I've been able to have, you know, the travel I'm able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the people I'm able to help. And I have this conversation, or I'm not going to say I have the conversation, but I have an awareness when I talk to certain people, some clients, some just friends, about the resistance that comes with creating more money than what you're used to.
Yeah.
Right? Because, well, I don't need it to survive. You know, I'm okay right now. I don't really need more, and it would make me greedy. It would make me, you know, not a good person and all this stuff. And I'm like, but look who you could help.
Yeah.
I want to get to
money is a resource.
It's
an energy and it's a resource.
Yeah. One of my goals is to be able to totally fund a dog rescue for a year with all the basics. You know, they would still get donations from, you know, other people like they do now for all the medical expenses and things. But I would like to pay all the fixed costs of running a dog rescue. Not that I want to do it myself, because it hurts my heart when animals, I just can't. I physically can't. Going into a shelter, just, okay, I'm going to use an energy word, which I try not to do too much on these shows, because some of my listeners are more into mindset stuff than energy work, right? Mm-hmm. But some of us are a bit more empathic than others. So we feel emotions in a place, right? Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I couldn't go into hospitals. I I couldn't figure out how, and I've said this before on the show, so this is not a new thing, but I couldn't see how anybody could work in a hospital. I couldn't do it. It was all I could do to walk in the door of one when I would have to go visit somebody. That was like, it was like traumatic for me. I never told anybody because, that's my stuff, right? But now I know how to protect myself when I go into those places, but it just hurts my heart to go into an animal rescue place. To see what those animals are going through and to feel it, But the whole empathic thing can be problematic for some of us. But my goal, if I had the resources, right, which more money would bring me, is to totally fund one of these small animal rescues. You can't do that kind of work without money, right?
Right.
So if you can create more money, you can create more value for somebody else. And I heard a saying, if you don't think money brings happiness, you're not giving enough of it away.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I have a vision
all the people that you can help. See, I sponsor kids and I donate for water and for food, all the basics of life, right? But I like that saying. If you don't think money brings happiness, you're not giving enough of it away. You're holding on, right? And then that's that fear of not having enough, not getting any more if I give this away, right? In the church community, they call it tithing, right? Just as a basic baseline, you give away 10% of everything you make to help somebody else, to help the church, whatever, right? But then giving would be in excess of the 10%. So just a thought.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, I have a vision of a nonprofit also, and I've been kind of let's say, I live with my father, who is 101 years old.
Oh my goodness!
And 7 years ago, after his wife passed away, and he hurt his knee, he was 94 years old. He was living alone, and I moved in with him. And his doctor said that he had 1 year at most left to live, and that this would be his last Christmas, to get our, things in order and get the family together for Christmas. And here we are. So I have, and it's interesting because one of the things that I've been, in my issue bucket that I've been working with, and over, because I've kind of been like thinking, okay, well, as soon as this passes, then I'll move on to, and as soon as but right now, here's what I'm doing and here's what I can do. And, this works comfortably for me, for my business, for my clients, And then when this phase passes, then I'll do And I finally occurred to me, it's like, okay, 7 years. He is like, we just went to a doctor's appointment this morning. His next appointment, his, quarterly checkup, he'll be 102. And, so I'm like, okay, over the last year, I finally recognized it's like, okay, I need to stop saying after and just say, all right, we're going to do the best we can to not wait, but really roll, let some of these things roll now. And yes, they're going to go at a slower pace, because if you've ever been a full-time caretaker of someone who, does need a lot of assistance, you know that your life and your schedule is not always your own. So, it's going to go at the pace, but I'm no longer saying after. I'm saying, all right, let's roll with what we can right now. So,
yeah, there's a Tony Robbins statement. Well, it's a question. When would now be a good time?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about your business. If someone would come to you, what kind of clients do you like? What do you like to work with?
I love to work with people who, my spiritual teacher used to talk about the deep sincere. English was not his first language. And in his broken English, he would talk about the deep sincere. So for that person that has the deep sincere, who really wants to grow, who really wants to heal, who really wants to evolve, it's okay to show up as you are with all your stuff, because we all have stuff, as we said. And, but to be willing to say, okay, I'm showing up as I am with all my stuff, and let's unpack these, these bags, and see what is inside of me. What is inside of me that wants to be known, right? There is a saying, and it's called a hadith, that says that, it says that the angel said that God said, all right, so this is like from the word of God saying, I was a hidden treasure and I desired to be known. So I created the creation and I made them to know me. Like everything in creation is made to recognize. And here we go in a little bit of a woo-woo energy thing. Everything is like of a particulate matter from source, right? Everything is a vibration that comes from source. And we human beings have accepted this thing called free will. And forgive me if this is going into, you're welcome to put it into whatever language or toss it out if you don't believe it. But the human beings are the one thing on the planet in the creation that was given this thing called free will. And the teachings from this, the Sufi teachings say that it was offered to everything. It was offered to the water, to the clouds, to the trees, to the mountains, to the soil, to the plants, to the animals, to everything. And everything said, no, we're good. We know that there are the established laws of nature that have been deemed for the creation, that, you touch something hot, you burn your finger. Like, we got it. We don't need to work to live in any other way. But the human being says, oh, well, I'll take that challenge, right? And really what the free will means, it doesn't mean that we're like superior in any other way. It just means that we forgot what the laws of nature are. And we get to kind of go around bumping into things, kind of testing the boundaries of how far can we stray from outside the laws of nature before we totally self-destruct and destroy the planet, I mean, or recognize, come to the realization of, oh, wait a minute, that vibration, that resonance, that resonates with laws of nature and with, the all that is inside of me. And I can return to that and actually become, that, like I said, our mission is about making the choices that allow us to live sustainably with the all of nature, right? And that's really where that comes from, because all of that, that resonance is within. And when we really say, oh, I'm willing to kind of unpack all of the baggage that's on top of this and find that inner resonance, that's going to allow me to live in harmony with myself, with my connection with all that is, with nature, the natural world, live sustainably, live peacefully, then, that's the, like, if you have a passion for that, if that resonates with you, if you are drawn to that, that's the kind of people that I like to work with. So whether it's somebody that's coming and say, hey, I want to start a business, and because one of the things that I study that I am fascinated with is there is this Sufi mystic named Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. Can I just speak of that for a minute? Because it's really fascinating. He was on a pilgrimage, and in his awakening, he had this awakening where he was taken beyond the veil of this 3D material realm. And he saw how through sound vibration from, we say, well, God said be, and then everything came into being. He saw how the various sound vibrations actually layered into existence the layers of creation, from the very first, what's called the first intellect, the idea, the plan, the vision, to all of the steps in between until there was an actual manifestation, which is what we're playing out and living here in this 3D realm that's within the veil, right? So we don't see, we think that this is all that is, but beyond the veil, there's a lot more. So he was given this vision from beyond the veil, and he teaches, or taught, he was born in the mid 1100s to the mid 1200s. So he's got all kinds of teachings about these step levels of creation and the stages of creation, right? So I love bringing sound, sound resonance into and also recognizing the step levels of creation, the stages of creation, whether it's for your own personal journey or for your business journey, because it's beautiful in the way that it can guide us to understand, okay, wait a minute, what are my guiding principles? What is my purpose and my passion and my mission, my values? How does my inner compass guide me? And how does my earth journey evolve? How does it spiral that, brings about my personal evolution? So all of this is laid out within these teachings, and all of it's associated with the layers of creation, with the various divine powers, with sacred sound, with all of this stuff. And I find that fascinating. So in some of my programs that I do, I bring that in. And all of that knowledge, as you know, when you have a lot of tools in your tool belt, you can pull out various things about, here's something that could help you with, like, getting through that obstacle, if you will, and bringing that into alignment and into harmony, and really being able to bring your unique purpose and passion into manifestation.
So if that sounds really interesting to someone, would they work with you one-on-one or with groups? And how would they get in touch with you? How would they find out more?
Well, yes and yes. So I do one-on-one. If you have something personal and private that you want to work with on that, I do one-on-ones. I also I have a workshop that's coming up on August 10th that is specifically about the stages of creation, and where we're going to go through those 7 stages of creation and, like, vision, purpose, mission, and the values, the inner compass, the guiding principles, really looking at, all right, what are the elements that your business needs? What are your influences and your guiding, and your guides of your business? What is the journey of the person that you're serving or the population that you're serving? What's their journey of evolution? How does that all factor in through these layers and stages of creation? So we're going to be looking at that in that workshop. So, that's one thing that if someone wanted to do, they could jump into, is assuming they see this in time. And, and if not, then by all means contact me. I have if they're attracted to the sound, I have a program called the Ocean of Sound. That's a monthly ongoing membership program, as we call it. The mystics call it the ocean with no shores. So we couldn't really give it a beginning and an end on that program. I co-teach that with my teacher's translator. And, and finally, well, not finally, but just one other thing I have is a weekly meditation and healing circle on Sunday mornings, which I mentioned earlier. And that is free. Anybody can hop into that.
And your website is?
communityforconsciousliving.com, all spelled out, no spaces, communityforconsciousliving.com.
And you've already mentioned this, but just to clarify, you have some free resources for people who are interested.
I do. Yes. So I have the Sunday Meditation and Healing Circle, which is free. And I have hundreds of recordings of various healings with different topics on my website. One of those is going to be with you, which I'm very excited about. Jean is offering a, can I say it? Is it okay?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. About how guilt affects your relationship with money. So I'm very excited. At the time that we're doing this interview is just before she's going to be offering that for our community. So that will be on the website. So I have a lot there. And I do the Meditation and Healing Circle live. When people come and attend live, after the recording is turned off, we, stop the recording. What doesn't get shared, people can ask questions. They can speak of their aha moments. They can get support, So if, please join us live. Join us live for that. And, it's, to me, I love it when people show up. I love it when they share, and I love it when they, or just, just listen and whatever you you need. But join us live for that. And when you sign up when you go to the website, you'll see a place where you can sign up to receive. It says join the community. If you sign up there to receive, it'll send you reminders and replays, right? So you get 2 emails a week. Now that I've got this workshop going on, you might get 3 a week, but that's not all the time. So you get 2 a week. One saying we're starting in an hour, another one saying here's the replay. And you'll also, when you sign up, get 2 free gifts. And one of them is just a 1-sheet reminder that you can print out. That's the 10 spiritual principles of our human existence, who we are, what this earth journey is about, why we're here, just to help us to keep it in perspective so we don't get so caught up in all the obstacles and the, and the highs and lows and the influences of the world that aren't necessarily in our highest interest to follow. But just to remind us, and it also has a 15-minute downloadable guided meditation that helps you connect with the pure divine light and unconditional love and eternal compassion that you are at the core of your being.
Cool. So that's a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, I have a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, and it also allows people to get to know you more and to decide when it's the right time to work with you.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, and I love connecting one-on-one, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end of our time together, but I want to see if you maybe have any final thoughts for our listeners. Anything that we haven't touched on or might need a little bit of extra expansion?
Yeah. I go back to going to a couple of places. The comment about the deep sincere, about your heart being your truth, your source of connection and your guide. And then also I go to this, I'm reminded of this Rumi quote, the Sufi mystic and poet Rumi. He has this one quote that I love, I quote a lot. It says, "These forms we seem to be, these bodies, are cups floating in an ocean of living consciousness. We think we are our bodies, but what we are is ocean, too near to see, though we swim in it and drink it in." And he says, "Don't be the cup with the dry rim, or one who rides all night, never realizing the horse beneath his thighs or the surge that carries him along." We're here to be these open cups and to experience this life from a place of not holding on too tight, and letting it flow and being with the flow. But we're also here to ride the horse, to surf the waves, and to really be a part of what moves us through this creation. And that's the passion and the purpose that you feel. So, if you're feeling it, embrace it. Get on that surfboard, get on that horse, have fun with this life and ride. Enjoy.
Cool. Wow, that was really cool. Now I feel like I should be going out and having some more experiences today.
Good.
So thank you so much for being here. This has been a whole lot of fun.
Well, good. It's been fun for me too. I thank you very much. And I thank everyone who is listening. And best for you.
Cool. So for all my listeners out there, thank you once again for tuning in. Next week, we'll have another special guest because I love my special guests. This is your host, Jean Border, signing off from the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey podcast. Until next time.
We trust you enjoyed this episode of the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey podcast. Energy work to better your business. Hosted by energy healer Jean Border. Remember to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey.